right. What is going on? So, we are going to get into the show in a minute. A quick reminder for all of you as you tune in. The goal of this show is to help athletes build their dream careers in sports. So, if you or someone you know knows a young athlete that is on the way up, that is trying to create their dream life through their athletic career, make sure you're sharing the show with them. Make sure you are sharing the live stream with them. And today we are talking about taking the leap. We are talking about deciding to go all in on yourself. And this, I'm going to dig into a little bit of my own story with coaching, and then a little bit of, a couple of client stories as well, just to talk through really the benefit of like what taking the leap actually means, what going all in on yourself actually means compared to what so many seem to think it means, which is try a little bit at all and then take the easiest out you can. But let's get into the show. We're talking about taking the leap, and we're going to go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the #1 show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I'm your host, Kenny Dusseault, and today we are talking about taking the leap. We are talking about going all in on your athletic career. We're talking about what makes the difference between the athletes that fall off and the athletes that actually end up making those dreams a reality. Now, when it comes to taking the leap in your career, when it comes to going all in on your career, what do I mean? Now, a lot of people say that they're ready to do that. They say they're ready to, build the dream career. And just to preface all of this, when I say build your dream career, I don't necessarily mean best in the world, multimillionaire, et cetera, whatever the dream is for you. I have some athletes that they have no desire to be world champions. They have a desire to compete at a professional level so they can take that into a career in coaching. And they want to compete at the professional level the right way so that they can improve their ability coaching. Now, I have others that have the goal of being a world champion, making their living in their sport. So when I say dream career, I want to really reinforce the fact that I'm not saying you have to have the desire of being a world champion. I'm saying the goal is to help you build the career that you are after. Now, when I talk about building a dream career, what I really want you guys to reinforce first off is ask yourself why you're doing it. And this one was really powerful for me. I had someone ask me the other day why I wake up at 4:30 in the morning every day, why I work the way I do, why I, put so much effort into what I do. And it was really simple for me. I have big goals in my life and my career, and I want to do those through pursuing the things that I'm passionate about. And, when I talk about big goals for my life, when I was growing up, I lived in a good family. I have no complaints about my childhood in that way, but money was always a discussion. It was always, we're going to go on this trip, but we're going to try to find, the best deal on the hotel and find the cheapest day to fly. And money was always a discussion. And that's not a bad thing, whatever. But one of the things that as I went off on my own, I realized is I don't want to be having those discussions. I don't want to be going to the different grocery stores so that I can save $1.50 on milk. I want to just need milk and fucking buy it and not have to worry about that money. And again, that's me. So one of the things that became very important to me is creating financial freedom where I don't have to think about money. I could just use money for the tool that it is. And on top of that, other goals for myself personally is I want to own my home. I've rented since I left my parents' place 12 years ago. And there's nothing wrong with renting. There's a lot of benefits, but I want to not just buy a home, but buy a nice home that I'm proud of. And in order to do that, I don't know if anybody follows the real estate markets, that shit ain't cheap. So I need to put in a shit ton of work to be able to put myself in a position where I can buy a nice home that I'm proud of. And then when it comes to the career itself, I've been saying since I was about 12 or 13 years old that I want to spend my days around athletes. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I wasn't going to be an athlete for a living. So I wanted to spend my time around athletes. And now I've put myself in a position where that's literally my day every day. I train professional athletes in my gym and around the world, and it's the fucking greatest job I could ever ask for. But that job doesn't happen, and that job doesn't continue to happen without me working my fucking face off to make sure that I'm continuing to get better so I continue to be worthy of the job that I now have and of the business I've now created. And so when you are looking at building your career, first off, have a clear vision of what that career is. And second off, understand that you need to understand why you're doing it. Another great example of this, I had an athlete that started with me probably 8-9 months ago now. And he started with me after he had his son. And he told me that his main goal is that he wants to become someone that his son can look up to and want to be like. So he had been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time before, but then he had been away from it for a while. He had his son and he realized, I don't want to be this person that I am right now. I want to be someone that my son can look up to and my son can be like, damn, I want to be like my dad. And the other one that always makes me laugh is he said, I want my kid to be the one on the playground saying, my dad can beat up your dad and know that it's true. And so that one always made me laugh, but that was the why. That was the motivation. So there's not a right answer in terms of what your why needs to be or what needs to motivate you, but you need to figure out what it is. And the reason that is because, guys, this shit is hard. Whether it's building a coaching business, whether it's building a career as an athlete, this shit is hard. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of hours in the day that you need to be pushing yourself. And there are going to be days that you don't want to do it. There are going to be days where you wake up and you're like, damn, I could just sleep for 3 days and I just absolutely don't want to do this today. And when you have those days, this is what we're talking about today, which is taking the leap. When you have those days when you're like, damn, man, the last thing in the world I want to do today is get up and start doing the shit I have to do in my day. When you have those days, it's the why that pushes you through. When I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, my alarm goes off and I go, oh my God, I want to sleep for a week. Thinking about buying that home that I'm proud of, building a life that my future family can live and be happy with and be excited with and not have to think about money and not have to worry about money. That is the thing that gets me up anyway, because I understand that even though I'm not there yet, I'm building something for not just myself, but for my family in the future. And when my kids are growing up, they're going to be able to look to me and be like, damn, following your passion is a realistic way to make a living. I can actually be happy every day instead of going to a job I hate that pays me shitty money just to come home and worry about fucking money. So those are the things that get me up anyway. Those are the things that get me started anyway. And the other thing, guys, when it comes to your why, when it comes to what motivates you to build this career that you're after, once you have clarity on what that career looks like, when it comes to the why, you need to reinforce it. I have a document on my computer, and part of my routine every single morning is reading that document. And it reads all the reasons that I do what I do, all the reasons that I work the way I work, and all the things that I'm working towards. And the reason I read that every single morning is because that reinforces it that much more. I don't have to think about it anymore. I just understand that this is what I do. I wake up at that hour. I work the way I do. I provide the value that I do for clients because I have goals for my life and career that are important to me. That doesn't get clouded anymore because I read it every single day, no matter what. So have a system in place. When you have that why figured out, have a system in place where you can reinforce that. Whether it's like my athlete that I was talking about, whose why is his son and having himself be someone his son can look up to. And that why is literally running around your house all day. Or whether that's like me, where it's not necessarily a person, but you've got to actually have something that you can do that you can reinforce it in your mind. You want to put yourself in a position where you don't question it anymore. You don't think about it anymore. You just do it. And then on that as well, one of the really important things to talk about when it comes to building your dream career, when it comes to actually taking the leap to decide you're going to go after it and not just, try it out and see where it goes, is that you're going to face roadblocks. You're going to face difficult times. You're going to face adversity. But if you actually have goals that are important to you, if you actually have a clear reason why, it's the people who are willing to face those and continue to move forward that are going to be successful. I see so many athletes every day, and honestly, it breaks my heart sometimes that at the first sign of adversity, they just call it quits. Oh, I can't commit to this right now because, life's tough. Life's always going to be fucking tough. There's always going to be shit that comes up. There's always going to be problems. There's always going to be reasons not to. But when you wake up at 50 years old, are you going to wake up and go, oh man, it's too bad that life was tough. Otherwise, I would have been a professional athlete. Or are you going to wake up and go, fuck, why didn't I go harder at that? Fuck, why did I let that excuse get in the way? Fuck, why didn't I actually go all in and do the things that I know I could have fucking done? Because when you face the roadblocks, and I understand it, there are days where those roadblocks feel overwhelming. Guys, when I was building my business, I started my company in November 2019, and in March 2020, the fucking world shut down. The world shut down, something that I didn't think could actually ever happen. And I knew a lot of coaches that went out of fucking business. But when the goals and the why are strong enough, you need to be able to push through that. I hear people tell me every day, oh, I can't commit to training because I'm busy with work. Motherfucker, the world shut down and I continued to coach. I continued to find the way to pursue the passion that I had. So you've either got to admit to yourself that your goal isn't that important to you. And if that's the case and you're happy going off and living the mediocre life, not accomplishing these things you say you want to accomplish, that is fine. You do you. Or you've got to understand that life is always going to throw fucking curveballs at you. Life is always going to throw curveballs at you. It's always going to throw these difficult situations at you. But you've got to understand that the dream you are after is on the other side of these situations. Because if you're sitting here right now and you're like, yeah, but you don't understand my situation. I'm really, really busy with work. Understand that there are people who are literally working 12 to 15 hours a day and managing to train around that. Understand that there are people, I've had athletes that have been homeless for a small period of time and continue to manage to get to a gym or continue to manage to adapt their workouts and continue to push towards the goals they have despite not having a fucking roof over their heads. And you're telling me that you can't do it because you're busy right now or you've got distractions in your life. I understand you've got distractions in your life. I understand you're busy. I understand money's tight. I understand you got shit going on. But guys, the dream you have for your life and for your career is on the other side of how you handle those situations. So what I really want you to take away from this, what I really want you to understand is that regardless of where you're at, there's always ways for you to take the leap. There's always ways for you to actually bet on yourself. Like, I remember days when COVID was happening, when I was, on my own starting a business. I was a few months in and then COVID shut the world down. I remember the first week feeling sorry for myself, kind of sitting around being like, oh man, I can't catch a break. And then stopping and realizing that if I want to be a fucking coach, if I want to do this for a living, like I've said so often that I do, it's time to fucking adapt. It's time to change. It's time to figure it out. And so through so much of COVID, I was literally working all hours of the day, all hours of the night, figuring out how to coach people online, learning social media, which, guys, like, I have athletes tell me all the time too, oh, I should be more active on social media, but I just don't like it. Motherfucker, you think I do? No, I learned to use the tool. I learned to love it because I learned how to use it. But again, now the business I have, a 6-figure company coaching athletes in 10 different countries around the world, is built off of social media. This tool that I used to say, oh, I don't understand it. I don't get it. It's not for me. That same tool is what has allowed me to literally build the life that I've been after my whole life. Now, what I want you guys to understand from that is that whatever the adversity is, whatever the struggle is, whatever it is you're dealing with, this is the wake up call to understand that there are always going to be difficult things. One thing that I hear athletes tell me a lot is, oh, yeah, I'll start up when, things calm down. And okay, but think about it this way. Let's say things calm down in 2 months. You start training, you start focusing on yourself, you start actually putting your career first. And then after that, 2 months later, things get busy again. Do you quit? Because if you do, you're not going to make it very far. And actually, it was Alex Hormozy. If you don't know him, you should look him up. It was Alex Hormozy who said in a video of his, the best time to start focusing on yourself, the best time to go all in on yourself is when you're busy. Because if you do it while you're busy, you're going to teach yourself to work while you're busy. You're going to teach yourself to do it at the least optimal time. Because things are always going to be busy. Things are always going to pop up. And if every time things pop up or things get busy, you quit, you are never going to fucking get anywhere. So when it comes to really just summarizing out this podcast, what I really want you guys to take away from this is understand that that thing that's been bugging you, that thing that's been just eating at you of, that goal that you want to achieve, but you're just not sure how to go about it, or you're not sure how to do it, or you don't know if you belong, or whatever it might be, understand that it's there for you to take. It's there for you to take, but you've got to learn to work through adversity. You've got to learn to continue to push forward when things aren't going your way. You've got to learn why that goal is important to you. And then you've got to reinforce that why in your mind every single day if you want to actually achieve it. So I hope this was valuable. I hope you guys got something out of this. If you did, I'd love to know what it was. Shoot me a message on social media. Drop a comment on the YouTube video or wherever it is you're watching the show. Leave a review for the podcast, all that good stuff. In the meantime, though, my big ask of you all is if you got value from the show today, share it with a friend, share it with a teammate, share it with a coach, share it with someone who will benefit from hearing this message. As always, I appreciate you all. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and we'll talk again on the next episode.